Thanks for joining me on About Alberta Tech, which is focused on introducing Alberta tech companies to Albertans. Our goal is to share the innovation and diversity that exists in this province in quick bites. And my name is Lenora Thomas, and today I'm joined by Boris Georgievic, founder and of Frontech Solutions. So thanks for joining me, Boris.
Thank you.
So let's start with some background on you. How did you get into tech?
Well, I was always a problem solver as growing as a kid. I always liked these challenges and fixing things. And like when people ask me, hey, what do you want to do when you grow up? And I was really like, I want to be a pilot or somebody I'm good at solving problems. So I was like, my idea there was there's two things I wanted to do. One is I wanted to travel. And secondly, I want to solve those problems for people, and I want to bring it to the global kind of level as much as I can. So that's how the whole thing started. And I was always interested in technologies and fixing things that are electric and logical. And then basically got into technology that way because I figured out that the best way to fix some of the problems is actually programming in a later in my life. So along the way, while I was growing and finishing the school and everything else, I got opportunity after I was solving some software and problems and challenges and technological problems and challenges in Europe for the companies that I work with. I figured out that I will be an entrepreneur because I kind of like to do things my own way. And people found the value in that. And so I was like, okay, great. I validated it. I know what I'm doing. And now let's go and do it. So I had the opportunity got presented to me when I got offered to go to Asia to solve some communications problem between Taiwan and China for affluent at that time Taiwanese company. And I was at that time I was 25 years old, and I was like finished my school. I was kind of ready to go explore the world, and so I took the opportunity, went to Taiwan, and I spent 10 years in Taiwan and China polishing my language, understanding of how it goes. Traveled all over the region, solved biggest companies' technological problems, created new software, started my new software company as well. And developed in personal and professional level. And that's where actually Frontech started in Asia. It was like, okay, there was a need to solve the problems, not only consult people of how to solve it, but actually provide a solution. So I was like, oh, there is nothing I cannot do, obviously, in my mind. So I was like, okay, let's start a software company and provide software. So what happened there is that I actually was one of the pioneers in a web software solutions where you have one server sitting and serving many different offices at the same time, which is standard right now. But in 2000, yeah, 99 and 2000, when we had Y2K, and things are just beeping and lights are turning on and off. That was kind of anomaly, and I was one of the leaders at that time. So I really love it. I really enjoy that, and obviously now became an expert in that because I'm a speaker on different conferences. I got paid by some guys to go to Vegas and give lessons about this. I work with Adobe company, which is massive, design firm, and yeah, so it's been a good experience. And then I landed in Alberta in 2006, and the Edmonton Research Park. I've been here ever since.
Wow. You really got to travel. That's amazing.
Yeah. Well, I said that was my idea, right? I want to solve the problems and travel. So yeah, I did that. And, I do enjoy it. This COVID is a little bit kind of putting kibosh on that, but it's good. We are still solving people's problems, and I have a team of people that help me do this. But yeah, I'm looking forward to get back into traveling soon.
Definitely, I'm there with you. So let's go into what Frontech does. What does your company build?
So during all these 20 or 25 years of doing what we do, we became a global player in product lifecycle management software field, which is kind of a mouthful when you think about it. But what it does, it actually provide a digital backbone for some of the most successful companies in the world in a very, very aggressive and inventive marketplaces. So let's say we have companies like Quicksilvers and Billabongs, DC Shoes, Etnies, Avia, Hello Kitty. There's many other brands that are there that are less or more known, that we provide the digital backbone for them. So they basically are able to communicate all their product design information, pricing information, everything else with their supply chain. They process internally and with their partners, and they offer it to the marketplace. So you basically, we design a digital backbone that underlies all the processes they do. And there's about 200 different modules that are helping these guys to run their business, basically.
Wow. And okay, so what got you into doing that?
Well, you know, it was the challenge basically. When I was in Taiwan, I worked actually with the Prime Asia Leather Corporation, which at that time was the biggest leather supplier in the world, and they were supplying Nike, right? So then they hired me around Y2K issue that they have there. I need to, you know, set some certificates, test some of their equipment, and I'm like, well, and then I looked at some of their processes, and I spoke to some of these fashion guys like Nikes and Converses on the world. And I consulted all of them on the solutions, but I didn't have a solution. I had a like, okay, you should do this, but then, you know, you need to, okay, so now you give them something to do, like selling, you should fix the fence, but you don't have a tools, right? So I had to build the tools. Yeah. So basically I built a tool that does that. And it took me, you know, 8 versions of it and software development for about 10, 15 years that I've been doing this. So, yeah. So we just had, cool. Just to tell you how it goes, like we just had in November of last year, we had 10 years anniversary with Quicksilver, our client. You know, so they use our software for a long period of time because it's enterprise grade and it has a long life cycle. Yeah.
That is so neat.
And so, then, yeah, on the top of this, sorry, I missed this one. We're also working with the local companies that need like really, you know, innovative systems, very innovation challenged with a quick life cycles. So we have companies like Agden, Cantor, Tarbos, A+, and others that are smaller companies that actually need very powerful systems because they don't want to really employ many people. So yes, that's where we're going.
That is so neat. Okay, so why Alberta? Why did you choose Alberta?
Well, you know, I started the whole company thing in Asia, and I visited Alberta before I actually moved here. And I had some personal reasons to come here. I mean, there was this blonde girl, and you know that I met there, and then and we had 2 kids in Asia, and then we obviously decided to come over here. But I had a couple different options when I was choosing where we're going to go next. One of them was California, the other one was Alberta. And I don't know if I chose right or wrong. At that point in time, it was San Diego, and it was a beautiful location. But I tell you, sometimes in the winter, I'm thinking about it. But anyways, I chose Alberta. There is a massive financial potential. There is a really great stability in community here. I really appreciate that. There is a way of life here is very unique, where people respect each other. There are some really values, human values that are very unique to this place because people are really true and right, and they keep their word. So that's a big deal for me. And I figure out with the experience that I accumulated in, you know, Southeast Asia and all over the world in US, it'll be something good to bring to Edmonton and this area. As well as I actually bought a house in 2005 in a south side of Edmonton in the suburbs, and then I've looked at an Eastview Business Park. And I'm like, wow, this is a great opportunity. All these companies are doing different things, and you know there may be a place to grow. So yeah, that's pretty much how it happened.
All because of girl.
Yeah, I know. It sometimes happens like that, but. You know, yeah, the kids, I also wanted, schooling is really good too. And I had really small kids, and, you know, pollution in Asia, in China for that matter, where we lived, was not that, you know, healthy.
Yeah.
I was like, yeah, I don't really want them to grow there. So there was a little bit of a trigger there too.
That makes sense. Okay. So you've got your company that's doing well. You're working with some really great organizations. What are you now growing towards with Frontech?
Well, what are we trying to do right now? Again, something that the original idea actually stays here. I'm kind of guy that goes and stay on a course, and kind of the idea is there. I just need to do execution. And so Frontech is not a company that grows like, with massive investors and, volatile markets and sell and buy. We are focused on customers. So my life's thing is that I've started doing the same thing as I was, in the first engineering days, and I continue to do that. I provide services for the clients, and I have company behind me, which is great. It feels good. I feel awesome. I love going to work. I have a smile on my face every morning when it's there, sunshine, and stuff. But the idea there is to try to actually, what I see my mission is try to help Alberta companies to achieve that quick growth and automation level that I've seen possible in Asia. And they're excellent. They're really, as much as we don't like sometimes politically what's going on there, they're very, very successful in what they're doing. And they're selling the things to the whole world, right? So I want to, and there's no real other reason. Initially, it was labor cost and stuff, but they're very, very automated. Like, they really organize guys, and they use the best and newest technologies. So I'm trying to bring that spirit to Alberta and help the companies here to reach their maximum potential by applying those technologies to their own businesses. And so we are open. As much as we have these massive companies as our clients, we actually have a totally different brand, and a part of our company deals with the smaller players. And so that means that we are using all the experience, all the software, all the stuff that's available to these big players, to the smaller guys here in smaller. I'm talking about medium-sized company up to $150, $200 million or higher in inventory levels and year-end turnarounds. But nevertheless, it's a similar play, and we have these tools at our disposal. We just tune them a little bit and make them more available and easier to adjust to the smaller businesses, so they don't need to pay arm and a leg for enterprise system, but still have ability to use that experience and power of the enterprise systems. And then, in order not to miss the target, we did lots of research here, and to understand what are these guys actually struggling with. So I tend to hire lots of younger people to do research for me. So I get them summer programs from universities, business students, whoever wants to do stuff. They come to us and we are like, okay, well, let's do this. And I personally manage all these micro projects. And I say, okay, why don't you go to these companies and ask them this question? So they go and ask them. And so we find out that through all this research for the last 3 years, that 80% of the Alberta companies have a major issue with inventory management level. So, like, they don't know where their stuff is, right? And so, yeah, it's pretty crazy, right? And some of them are admitting it, some of them are not, but it boils down to that when you sift to the research reports, you see, well, most of the guys are actually losing stuff every now and then. They don't have geolocation tracking system for their inventory levels. They don't know where they drop some equipment somewhere. Nobody actually knows where it is. It's kind of, okay, somebody dropped it here and there, and that cost $50,000. So things like that. And then also in the tool shops, workshops, fabrication shops, they don't know how much material they have. They're late on material supplies. So that's all the inventory level management part. And we say, okay, well, we'll address that. So we created a little app here that software, actually, it's a web-based software that fixes that for Alberta company. We're pushing this right now. And then that's one thing. The other thing is that there's a fleet management issue because there's lots of trucks running around here, and it's expensive actually to put the fleet management software to control going on and where they're going, why they're going, how much they're wearing these trucks, when is registration expiring, cost of ownership of this thing. So we built a little fleet management system that does that as well. So we're going to push that over. That's 50% of the companies that are having fleets actually don't have an idea how much their fleets are costing, where the people going, how are they utilizing them. Again, geolocation and maps and stuff like that. So we have an app to do that.
Wow.
Yeah, and then I figured out now with COVID, I was in this international event in Mexico in March when the COVID hit, and I got stuck there a little bit, right? So I flew back in, and guys saying, well, now you're in quarantine for 2 weeks, you cannot move anywhere. I was like, okay, there is no better opportunity than this to write a little bit specification of how we're going to help companies to get through this and bring their product to the market if you're in lockdown. And it proved to be right. So we have little things that actually the guys that get our inventory management level support system, they actually have ability also to control through that inventory management level module their e-commerce site, which is a problem right now because people get their e-commerce and they have this homepage that has e-commerce, and then they have some kind of way of managing their inventory. The problem is that somebody needs to actually move these things around and make sure that things in inventory actually are available. And if you do something online and they don't have it in a stock, or they say, well, there is a late by 2 months because of COVID, you're going to lose a customer. So I designed a system, actually wrote the specification. My guys wrote it and it works. So you go there and basically you control your e-commerce site from your inventory module, which is very unique. No, I don't think many guys did that. So there are a couple of these features that are kind of necessary, I think, for businesses to go. And I would really like to help these companies in Alberta to achieve their excellence by using those tools. And they're fairly inexpensive. We provide real-time return on investment studies as a part of our rollouts, like really professional thing that we do for big companies, we will do for smaller companies and their rentals, kind of their use as much as used, that's what you pay for. As well as then we are like, okay, what else they have a problem with? Okay, so companies have a problem with training. Like you put some kind of solution to them, they're like, I know how to use this. It's complicated, right? How are you going to implement it? You're like, well, I don't know. I don't have time for it. So what we're like, you remember when I mentioned those students that I like to hire? So in order to make it really bulletproof and very simple to use, I bring a student here and ask him, okay, here's a manual. You have 2 hours, read it and go sign 500 items in an inventory level. So they, and it's so easy because we design our stuff to, our inventory level management is on the phones, right? There's no special devices needed in a camera, right? So, okay, so we send them out there and they do it. So I train those students. We have a couple of them right now that they're ready to go, and they would basically go and consign the inventory levels at company site and show them how to use it within a day. So we're pushing these guys to go there, and obviously they're going to do some technical sale, and we'll tell them what to tell them and whatnot. But the idea is that these young people are going to go there and show them how easy it is actually to use our system, as well as we provide lots of knowledge, and they're going to actually have real understanding of how business works. So also when I bring them over here, what else I do? I say, okay, listen, here's an access. I want you to learn how to use QuickBooks. So I have a little crash course here logged with the videos, how to use QuickBooks and how to, all the receipts that they get and stuff like that. So there is quite a few things I'm doing here with them, and it's super rewarding because they're very, very excited about this.
That's fantastic. I've got my first student kind of intern right now. I'm super excited about it. So I get to go through what you're doing.
Oh, nice. It's perfect. Actually, you'll find it very rewarding and fulfilling. I mean, I love it.
I'm looking forward to it. He started today.
Nice.
All right. So final question. What else do you think our community should know about you and your company? Well,
on the side of doing what you're doing and running business, and we've been profitable for the last, however, from day one, I think pretty much. The society here that and kind of I landed in, and I got a lot out of it. Especially, I picked wisely and picked something that people that I like to hang out with. But there is, I'm a big believer in the social responsibility model, and you need to give back. Because that environment is partially, responsible and help you to get where you got with your dreams and ideas. So we have done this in a little bit unique way. I'm a race car driver, and I drive rally cars too on a national level. So I've been racing all over the world along the way, and what I figured out is, what do people like? How would you make somebody give money to the charities, right? So I was like, okay, well, there is no better way than excite them about this and give them some value for it. So we have this unique rally racing experience model where we put people in a co-driver seat, and I have this super powerful car that I compete with in Canadian Championship and US. And we scared them, we get them excited, and they bid for that seat. And it's really cool because before they bid for it, we go to these golf courses, promotions, stuff like that, just to promote that ride. And then we get to know this, we go to all this actually events organized by charitable organizations to promote that ride as a part of their offer. And then everything we collect, we give it to charity. We have some fun, meet some new people, drive these guys around. We have some partners in some car brands are helping us out along the way. And so we have these events where, once a year we get them all together and there's a big party and we drive them in scare them in a rally car, and that money goes to charity. So been doing this for 10 years, mostly kids, charities, and animals, because I think they're most vulnerable and they need most help. Some with family protection stuff like Kids Cottage, for instance, and guys like that. Youth stuff, youth shelters. Couple organizations. I think we hit about 16 different organizations in the last 10 years. And so so that's I think it's very important for people to know that we are doing that. I think everybody should do it and try their best to come to our program and help us organize the event, and help do stuff if interested. And we will continue doing this as long as COVID protocols allow us to do it. As right now, we're kind of a little bit, we can't really sit in the same car and bring people on. But I think we're gonna go back to normal, and we'll be able to help more with more donations for the good cause, and so that's that part. Else, what I would like to tell people about Frontech is, I would like to encourage Alberta companies that are trying to create their own software solutions. There are lots of people hire people, and they become this, manufacturers and fabricators and companies. They try to become a software company by managing their own software development, and that's a tedious process. And it's a couple of years before past, and you have all these programmers hired, and you really don't know much about software. You're learning as you go, and then you're spending $300,000-$400,000 in a couple, 2-3 years for making some software that may or may not work. We have the experience. We've done this before. We are here in Research Park. We have a building, we have a parking lot, conference rooms. You can come in and ask the question. So my message to the entrepreneurs in Isku and everywhere around Edmonton, Alberta, and Calgary, for that matter, I mean, it's not that far. Give us a call. And personally, I can leave my number. Give me a call. Tell me what your problem is. Maybe there's a solution that you really don't need to pay through your nose and that works already out of the box, and we can adjust it so it matches your business process. And then also, since we own the software and IP rights to everything, we don't talk to any big buys. We're not like